Hello, everybody. My name is Candace, and welcome back to another episode of Cultivate with Candace, a place where we're going to be growing together and exploring ways to live a life that is centered on God. If you are new here, thank you for joining me. And if you're a returner, thank you for your continued support. And I hope you enjoy this upcoming episode that we're doing today. So, today I'm going to be talking about something that is related to what we talked about last time. Last video, we talked about living a slow life and what it means to do that and how we can practically live a slow life and focus our life on God in our day to day. Today, we're going to be talking about rest and true, not just rest, but true rest, the rest that only can come from God. And so, to start off, I want to give a definition of rest that I just got from the dictionary. It's just the first definition that will probably pop up if you Google rest. And I found that rest is to cease work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. And so, that is a dictionary definition that I found. And today I want to go into the word today and see what we can find in there about what true rest is and some ways that we can employ that in our day to day lives. So today we're going to be coming from Matthew 26, verses 36 through 46. And we're going to start out today reading the first three verses, 36 through 39. So I'm going to go ahead and read that now. And I'm going to be reading out of the CSB version, the Christian Standard Bible. Okay, let's start at verse 36. Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he told the disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." Taking along Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and troubled. He said to them, "I am deeply troubled." He said to them, "Oh, he said to them, I'm deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and stay awake with me." Going a little farther, he fell face down and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." So I've just read the first three verses for us. And the main thing that I got out of this uh, is that true rest is born out of a place of prayer. So we see here, this is the scene of Jesus going to pray in the garden shortly before he's about to be betrayed by Judas, one of his disciples. And he knows that this is about to happen. And so that's why we see in the word it says, he's told the disciples, "I'm deeply grieved to the point of death." So he knows what's coming. And he is they're probably seeing Jesus for the first time in a state of unrest. Because up until this point, he has been very calm, cool, and collected. And especially during times when you would have thought that he would not be, we saw him walking on the water, we see him calming the waves, we see him feeding 5,000 and doing many, many miracles. And now we see him as in a way that we have not seen him before in a place of unrest. And I believe that this has also been modeled for us, what we need to do when we're in that place of unrest and we are feeling uneasy and we are feeling deeply grieved about whatever is going on in our lives. We are to follow what Jesus' lead was, which was to come and gather friends together with him to pray. And that is a great place to start if you are realizing that in your life you're just having a lot of unrest. That's a great time to just call on others and say, "Hey, and be honest about where you are. Hey, I'm feeling uneasy. I'm feeling in this way, and I'm calling on people to come and be my help and be with me in this time." So that is what Jesus is modeling for them in verses 36 through 39. So we cannot experience true rest apart from prayer. So let's go into verses 40 through 41. Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. He asked Peter, "So couldn't you stay awake with me? So couldn't you stay awake with me 1 hour? Stay awake and pray, so that you won't enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." So when I read this, I reminded of a lot of myself, uh, in especially throughout my life. There's been many times where I come home at the end of a day and I know that I need to spend some time in prayer. I know that I need to read my word. I know that I need to watch these. I know I need to spend some time with the Lord, but I'm just so tired, and I just make an excuse, and or even I'll start praying and I fall asleep. And so this is what we are seeing the disciples doing in verses 40 through 41. They have been instructed to pray, and they know that they need to do that, but they're falling asleep. And what got from these two verses is that there is no sleep that is worth missing an encounter with God, because true rest is only found in God's presence. So, our first point was talking about how true rest cannot be found apart from a place of prayer. And so, we also know that true rest is more valuable than physical sleep. So, Jesus was urging the disciples to stay awake and pray, because he knew what was coming. And a lot of times, the Lord will press on us to pray about things that we don't know, but that He knows is coming. And so He's calling us to do that, to pray and to take ourselves out of our flesh, out of whatever is going on in that moment, and say, we are going to pray anyway. And I think a lot of times we say that we're too tired to pray because we think about prayer as a very formal thing that has to be done in a certain setting. You have to have your perfect prayer chair, your perfect prayer closet, all of those things. And so we think, well, I don't have the energy to go and gather up all the supplies needed to create the perfect prayer environment. So I'm just going to go to sleep. And something that I have been learning lately is prayer is something that can happen anywhere, and we really need to stop over complicating it and making it out to be this big. It is a big thing. I don't want to say that it's not, but making it out to be this complicated thing that it does not have to be. Prayer is just conversation between you and God. And when we come to a place of realizing that, that's where the rest is going to come from. And then when we start talking to God, we'll realize, hey, I'm not even that tired anymore. Or, hey, there was just something that I'm talking to God about right now that I didn't even know that I needed to say. And so when we are in a place of unrest, I just want to encourage you to take some time to just start talking to God. And it does not have to be, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be eloquent or anything like that. But that is really the place of where you're going to be able to start getting some rest, because you can start taking off the loads of things that you've been carrying with you. One of my favorite hymns says, one of the lines says, "Oh, what peace we often forfeit because we do not take all our things to God in prayer." And I found that to be very true. At the end of the day, I have things swirling and swirling in my mind. But when I take that moment to just talk with God, even while I'm doing other things, maybe I'm getting dinner ready or I'm walking my dog or whatever, and I just take time to just talk to God and say, this is what's on my mind, this is what's going on. I start to feel a lot more peace come on me. And when that peace comes, that's when we're able to have true rest in Him. And so this is something that we're going to have to fight against, because you come home and your flesh is telling you the way to rest, the way to get that true rest is going to be just by laying on the couch and binge watching that show. But in the background of your mind, you're still going and going and going. And so the true way that you're going to be able to get to that place of true rest is by slowing down and saying, you know what, I am going to say no to whatever activity that I usually do, and I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to talk with God. So I really encourage you guys to do that. And I know that you're going to see a turnaround in your sleep habits and your energy and just everything that's going around you, because now you're not carrying around all of the things that you've gone through in the day. So that's really what I gained from verses 40 through 41. We really just don't know how weak that we are in our own flesh. And it's so important to us that we take everything to God in prayer and value that above any other physical rest that we need, that we think that we need more. Okay, so next we're going to go to verses 42 to 46 and finish this out. Okay, so let's pick up with verses 42 through 46 and we'll finish out. Again, a second time he went away and prayed, "My father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it, your will be done." And he came again and found them sleeping, because they could not keep their eyes open. After leaving them, he went away again and prayed a third time, saying the same thing once more. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? See, the time is near. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let's go. See, my betrayer is near." So we see now that Jesus has come back to them a second time and a third time, and they were asleep yet again. And now it's too late, and the betrayer has come on them, and he has been the only one praying through the night, and the rest of them have been asleep. And so what I saw from that is God will not force you to rest in him. He is always going to tell you what is best for you, tell you what you need to do, but ultimately it's going to be up to you whether or not you take his advice, take what he's telling you to do, and put it into practice or not. And because we see here, he told the disciples, he told Peter and James and John, you need to pray because your flesh is weak. You need to pray. But in the end, they chose to do something different. And so it is really just going to be our choice how we do this. We have to choose if getting true rest is going to be valuable to us or if we think that we know a better way. And that's something that we're going to have to fight every single day, because every single day we are going to be put into a place where we have to decide, do I trust what God is saying or do I trust what I feel? And we have to make that decision every single day. You know, the decision that you make today, it doesn't carry into tomorrow. You have to make that decision again tomorrow of, are you going to trust what God is saying or are you going to trust your feelings? And that's something that is going to set the tone for whether or not you're going to be experiencing true rest in your life. So I also want to read a little bit from Matthew 20, let's see, 11, verse 28 through 30. And this is probably something that you hear very often when people talk about rest. It's probably one of the most popular verses that Jesus said about rest. So Matthew 11 and 28 reads, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take up my yoke and learn from me, because I am lowly and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So here we see again, Jesus is giving us an invitation. He's giving us, he's telling us exactly what we need to do in order to get the results that we want. But it is up to us to make that decision, to come to him, to give him the burdens that we're carrying. It's up to us. He's not going to take it from us if we're not giving it away. And so that's something that we have to recognize. I think a lot of times um, I think of babies. So a baby oftentimes when they're tired they will fight their sleep, and the parents can do all that their best that they can to get the baby to fall asleep. They can rock the baby, feed the baby, change the baby, do all of the things that they know is going to be best for the baby. But ultimately, if that baby does not want to go to sleep, it's not going to. And I think about the same with God. He can give us all of these instructions of what to do, how to get to true rest, how to give our burdens to Him, how to surrender. But we have to make that choice every single day to do that. And now, as a baby grows up, they start to recognize, hey, going to sleep when I'm tired, that's what's going to give me some rest. And I believe that's the same thing as we grow with God. We start to realize, hey, as I give my burdens to God, as I come to Him and I give Him all that I'm worrying about, as I spend time in prayer, I recognize that this is the way, the true way to true rest. And so as we are growing in the faith, we'll start to see that, and we'll start to see that the pattern is always when we follow God's principles, we get consistent results. So I just want to encourage you guys um to listen to what God is telling you to do and to follow what he's saying about how to get rest, because there is no other way. And we can try other things, but we'll always will realize that we're missing something, and that the other things that we're trying are discounts of what the true thing are. So, distractions will steal from your rest and make you believe that you're doing yourself a favor. And we cannot ever expect to have energy when we do not spend time with the one who gives us that rest and that energy. So, make sure you are prioritizing that time and giving him your attention because you'll see a change. Okay, so in conclusion, I just want to say a couple of things to wrap us up. Um, True rest comes from God, but we have to make our choice to step into it. Um, and I want to quote a couple of verses about rest that I think are going to be helpful to meditate on. I'll put them in the description as well. There can just be good things if you have lately been in a state of unrest. You can meditate on these and think about this. So, Psalm 62, verse 1, I am at rest in God alone. My salvation comes from him. I really love that verse because it just reminds us of where the rest truly comes from. It says, I am at rest in God alone. That tells us that there's no other place where we can be at rest, truly. Any other things are counterfeit. And another verse I want to read is Nehemiah 8:10, the latter portion of it. Do not grieve because the joy of the Lord is your strength. The joy of the Lord is our strength, and that is where we're going to get the power and the energy to push through and keep going in this life. So, as I do often do with these videos, I want to leave you guys some practical ways of how we can rest in God. So, first way, make a space to sit with Him every day. And like I said earlier, this does not have to be a complicated place or doesn't even have to be the same place every day, but just make a space to sit with God every day and give time to um, shift your burdens over to Him and take on the things that He wants to give you. Second thing, when you pray, say your request and then give Him time to respond. A lot of times we say our prayers and we just rush through our prayer and we don't wait on Him to say anything to us. But I want to encourage you guys to start doing that because that's really going to help you um, get to the get to the best answer faster. It's like going to your teacher and asking them questions, and then you just run out of the classroom before they can answer. That's not going to be very helpful. So let's not bring that to our prayer time. So we want to make sure that we're staying there and waiting to see if he has anything to say. Third thing, put down those things that are needlessly filling your time and do more slow things. If you need a idea of a slow thing to do, you can go back and view our the video I just did about a month or so ago, and I talk a little bit more about that. And last thing that we can do that is a very hard thing to do is do not value your sleep more than you value God's presence in your life because a fitful sleep is not going to give you true rest in your life. Okay. So our reflection question today is going to be how will you find rest in God today? And I invite you to answer that in the comments or answer it on, you can come comment on my page on Instagram if you'd rather do that. Send me an email, answer in your own time, whatever you want to do. So just think about that question today. How will you find rest in God today? And I really appreciate you guys for watching. I hope that this helped you. As always, if you have comments or questions or suggestions, please leave them below or contact me any other way that you would like. And I just hope that this was helpful to you. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much.